everyone, Rob B here with Rob D, and you're listening to a very, very special episode of the Property Podcast, because in this episode, you can finally invest with us. How? Listen on.
Yes, welcome to the Property Podcast. This is the show where we share with you for free the knowledge that we've gained from advising a multi-million pound property fund, which you can find out more about at portfolio.co.uk, as well as being property investors in our own right. And we like to think that the Property Podcast is always pretty special. But today, Rob, something truly special. No news story, no teasing. Let's just get straight into it. What's today all about?
Well, if you haven't guessed from the top of the show, we are crowdfunding. Yes, you could own a piece of Property Hub and Portfolio. Rob and I own a piece. And now, for the first time ever, it won't be just me and Rob. It could be you. So this episode is going to be brilliant because we're going to obviously explain what crowdfunding is, why we're doing it, and the vision for the business. Because we've talked about it in little bits before. If you're just curious of what we're doing with our property businesses, then this is going to be a great episode anyway, because we're going to talk about that vision. But we know how many people have said over the years that they'd like to invest with us. And now you can, because you can directly invest in our property businesses. Now, there's a pre-registration link you can go to straight away, which is at propertyhub.net/crowdfund, or one word, propertyhub.net/crowdfund. You can enter your details there and pre-register. And why is it a pre-register? Well, of course, we're going to let you go in as one of the first investors. Why? Because you're a podcast listener, and that means you're the best of the best. You're our most loyal hubbers. You're the ones who follow us week in, week out. So we want to give this to you first. So go to that link. All you're doing at this point is pre-registering. If you're listening to this episode within the first 2 weeks of it going live, go there and register your interest, and you will be alerted first and given the first opportunity to get in. And once you've done that, you'll also learn what our business does, get more information, which will allow you to make a decision on whether you want to go in or not. But right now, go to propertyhub.net/crowdfund. But Rob, let's start at the beginning before we get to the juicy, exciting stuff. For those who may not know, and to be fair, there's probably a lot of people listening who don't fully understand, what is crowdfunding?
Well, yeah, it can be confusing because the word crowdfunding gets used in lots of different senses. But when we say crowdfunding, what we're talking about is taking an equity ownership position in a business. So you're actually becoming a shareholder in the business. So today, Rob and I and our families are the only shareholders in Property Hub and Portfolio. But after the crowdfunding campaign, we will not be the only shareholders. There'll be other people who own some of the equity in our business. So crowdfunding is a mechanism to become a part owner, and do so by getting multiple people to band together, putting in relatively small amounts of money. So potentially crowdfunding could allow hundreds or even thousands of people to put in as little as, say, £100 each. So from a business's point of view, it's kind of an alternative to or an addition to angel investment or venture capital or private equity. It's another way that businesses can raise funding, but rather than raising it from investors like that, they are raising it from the crowd, which normally means fans of the product or the brand, or people who believe in what the company is going to do. So crowdfunding's been around for a while now, and there are some big examples of companies who've did it early and in some cases have continued to do it as well. So Monzo, Free Trade, Brewdog. Chances are I'd say you've heard of at least one, probably two, maybe three of those. All of those have used crowdfunding, just like we're about to.
So this begs the question, right? Why? Well, we've recently launched Portfolio. We've had Property Hub for years, but Portfolio takes things to another level for us. And we're going to talk about what the vision is for that in a moment. But I think it's important to say that we've never, as Rob said, we're the only shareholders, so we've never taken equity investment from anyone before, ever. We've been offered, but never taken it. And to get where we are today, we've bootstrapped all the way, which means we've just reinvested our profits over and over again. Takes a lot of discipline, but that's what you've got to do to get to the point that where we've got to. And we're at a point now where there's so much potential and there's such a huge opportunity for Portfolio that we want to grow faster, that we want to put in more than we've put in ever before. And we have put significant funds into portfolio already. You don't get to the point of listing a fund and launching an app without that. But we want to push things on. And who else would we rather do this with than the Property Hub community? Because, yes, at some point in the future, we may consider taking outside investment, possibly from a VC company, maybe somewhere else. We feel at the first time of doing this, we want it to be our community that gets the first opportunity before anybody else. Because it's then a community that has an interest in this being a success. For those who end up investing, we'll all want Portfolio and Property Hub to be a success. We'll all want to push it on further, and we'll all enjoy going on that journey. It's more fun. Like, community brings happiness. And yes, there's obviously financial things at stake here, and you can go and read up on all of that stuff. But just on a personal level, to know that the first group of investors really care and really buy into what we've done so far and what we plan to do in the future is amazing. It's not just having equity partners. It's not just having people who are new shareholders, but it's also having a big gang of supporters as well who want this to be a success. And that kind of feels good. It's been really lonely doing what we do. Been doing it for over 10 years now. So finally, to have other people who are driven and want this to be as successful as us is super cool and super appealing to us.
So that's why we've decided as a business to do a crowdfunding round. But why might somebody decide to actually participate in that crowdfunding as an investor? It's important to say that obviously every investment has risk, and equity investments in businesses like ours are no different. This is not at all like an investment in property. And in order to decide whether this is something you want to participate in, you'll need a lot more information. And you'll get that information earlier than anyone else, as Rob already said, by registering your interest at propertyhub.net/crowdfund. But while we're not going to get into the details of the investment now, it's probably worth speaking a little bit, Rob, about what at a high level our businesses actually do and how they make money, because this is something that we don't talk about on the podcast all that often. We know from past experience that a lot of people are confused about what we actually do and why this free podcast is here without any ads and things like that. So let's go over that for a minute.
Okay, so the first business you'll be most familiar with is the Property Hub business, the Property Hub brand. And I call it a business because it technically is, but we don't charge for our content, as you know. There's a cost attached to the magazine, and that makes a little bit, but it's nothing to write home about. Hey. But it is worth something, because Property Hub as a brand has a huge audience. The podcast is downloaded hundreds of thousands of times every single month. And if we wanted to, we could make a healthy income through advertisements. We don't want to, and we have zero plans to, but it gives you an idea of why Property Hub is so valuable. Because we have hundreds of thousands of downloads every month. We have tens of thousands of members on the Property Hub website. We have thousands of people who are paid subscribers to the magazine. There's lots and lots of people who engage with Property Hub. And that's amazing. And you know what? It's probably because we've given so much away for free and people want to be supportive of that and join us. But there is a other Property Hub business, one we don't talk about anywhere near as much, and this may be even the first time you hear of this business, which is called Property Hub Invest. And Property Hub Invest partners with developers. Sometimes it's new build, sometimes it's secondhand stock. And we partner with those groups of people with a group of investors who've come through Property Hub Invest and match the two up. It's almost like a brokerage firm brokering the deal between the two parties, but then we give the investors all the support along with it and guide them through the process. In my opinion, it's a great business. It makes profit. It does very well. But it isn't a business that we're trying to scale rapidly, and that we don't want to compromise on what we do already. It's a bespoke service, what we offer there. And while we're very proud of what we do, and we're very happy with the results it delivers, there's one clear business that has the potential to grow and grow and grow. And this is the business that we want to put our attention into and really scale. And that business is Portfolio.
Yes, and it's worth saying that the crowdfunding is into the top company that includes all of these. So anyone who invests in the crowdfunding round will end up owning a piece of everything, because all of this is in the same top company. But yes, portfolio is what we believe will become by far the biggest and most significant part, even though it's the newest. So portfolio, if you've been listening to the podcast for the last few months, you'll hopefully know, is something that we set up to bring about our vision of being allow anyone to become a property investor. It's an app that we believe has the potential to completely transform what property investment is and who can call themselves a property investor. So won't go on about it endlessly now, but you can find out more about that at portfolio.co.uk. Why that's significant to us as a business is that while what Property Hub Investor does is pretty niche, Portfolio has the chance of being massively mainstream and really, really scaling. And as it scales, that is, of course, beneficial to the business in terms of its revenues and its valuation. So Portfolio has required heavy investment to get started, building the technology, all the legals, listing the fund, huge investment of money, huge personal investment as well. We've talked in the past about what a journey it's been to get to this point, but now Portfolio is here, it's launched, it's live. We believe it will now start reaping the benefit of all that investment that it's had.
Absolutely. That investment is banked. That personal and financial investment is there already, established, done. What we want to do now is scale. And it's our vision to bring property investment to the masses. We all love property investment, right? That's why we listen to this podcast. You don't listen to this if you hate property investment. But so many people love property investment. You might be listening right now and you haven't been able to. It might be because you've not had enough funds. It might be that you're still scared to take that first step. Well, Portfolio is going to appeal to people like you. Portfolio is going to appeal to so many more people beyond that. Because imagine how many people would love to call themselves a property investor. Like, think about it. If you stop people on the street and said, would you like to be a property investor? How many people are going to say yes? Well, I think it'd be a high number. Why would you want to be? Well, Portfolio is going to allow those people to become a property investor. It's our aim, our vision to bring the minimum investment amount down as low as £100. And when we do that, it means we can scale at a rate that is exciting. There's not many people then who can't become a property investor. And it's not just becoming a property investor, financially, but also emotionally. That we know how many people love property and the endorphin kick of making a deal, getting your rental income come through, all that good stuff. And that's why within the app, we have a feed with updates of everything that's going on within the portfolio, whether it's, financial information, but also like more fun stuff, like what tenants have been up to, or the views from our latest penthouse apartment. Like all of that good stuff is in there as well. So yes, you can get the financial box ticked of saying I'm a property investor, but also that emotional box as well. And imagine what we can do when we bring that to the masses, which is our plan to do next year. We really hope we can get the minimum investment down to £100 next year. And when we do, the shackles are off. And that's why we're crowdfunding now, because our plan is to invest heavily in marketing and a bit into the tech team as well. So we're ready to tell the world that Portfolio is here. And we're ridiculously, as you can probably tell, excited by that. And we're very excited that you can come on the journey with us now at this point. Listen, we've done the tears. Like, the tears are out the way. Like, the stress, the sleepless nights, hopefully they're out the way as well. There might be a few more, but you don't have to do that. Leave that bit to us. But where you can go on this journey with us is investing now at a point when we're ready to scale a business that we feel has the most potential. Our existing businesses are fantastic, but with Portfolio, we believe the opportunity is huge.
All right, so hopefully you now understand a bit more what crowdfunding is and what we do now and what we're aiming to do in the future. So let's put all that together. How can you find out more to decide if this is something that you're interested in? So the first thing to do is to register your interest. You do that at propertyhub.net/crowdfund. That doesn't commit you to anything at all, but it is important because the campaign is going to go live to the people on that list before anyone else. And that's going to be in 2 weeks' time. You'll then be able to see all the information about this campaign and decide if it's for you. Why is it important to find out before the general public? Well, it's because the way this works, is that we have a maximum investment target that we want to raise. We're only accepting a certain amount of investment because, frankly, we don't want to give away too much of the company. We'd rather keep as much of it as we can. So when that allocation has been hit, that's it. So there's a chance that that whole allocation has been used in that private launch. But if there's any left over, it'll then go public to everyone else a few days later. So the thing to do for now is go to propertyhub.net/crowdfund and get yourself on that list for the private launch to have the best chance of being able to get involved if you want to.
And if that wasn't enough, and hopefully it's more than enough, there's actually going to be rewards as well for our future shareholders. And it depends at what level you come in at, to what level of reward you get, but you'll be able to find all that information as well. You know, we've grown Property Hub Invest, Portfolio, done all of that without doing paid marketing. You know, we've got a podcast and we talk about what we do, and that's allowed us to get to this incredible level. Imagine what's possible when we finally go full steam ahead. That's why we're excited, and that's why we think this is the perfect time to do this. And we want our community to come on that journey with us. So thank you for listening to this podcast. We really hope that you're as excited as we are, or maybe not quite as excited as we are, but at least a bit excited anyway about what's going to happen. Check out the URL, as Rob said, propertyhub.net/crowdfund, where you can pre-register and then get all the information in due course. And next week, as a thank you, I guess, for listening to this and hopefully getting onto that list as well, we're giving you probably the most requested podcast we'll ever, really, and that is the 18-year property cycle. No, we know you know what it is, and if you don't, you can find that out on our website through all the free courses that we do. But next week, we're going to take you through the rest of the property cycle, tell you exactly where we are right now, how you should invest right now, and when you should adapt your plans. And also, and probably the bit you really want to know, we let you know when we think that market crash will happen. Next week is going to be a very popular episode, so make sure your alarm clocks are set. Join us on Thursday morning when we'll go into the 18-year property cycle in the detail that you want. And, of course, before now and then, we'll be back with Ask Rob and Rob. So until then, take care, have fun, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.